In the vast reaches of the galaxy, on the thriving planet Xenon, something both thrilling and a little chaotic was about to happen. Xenon, now home to both humans and the native aliens known as Xenians, had become a hub of innovation. Aliens and humans worked side by side, advancing technologies beyond what Earth had ever dreamed. Among their greatest achievements was a collar that could give Earth animals the ability to talk, giving a voice to the creatures humans loved so much. So far, the talking collar had been a hit with cats, small dogs, and even a few alien creatures. But today, something more ambitious was happening. Today, they were going to try it on a pit bull, a breed known for its strength, loyalty, and boundless energy. Bruno, a muscular, lovable pit bull, was about to make history. Sam, a 14-year-old human boy with sandy hair and a love for animals, stood outside the sleek, glowing entrance of the School of Intergalactic Learning's science lab. Next to him, holding the leash of his best friend, Bruno, Sam tried to calm the excitable dog down. Bruno, all muscle and wagging tail, was sniffing every alien gadget and machine in sight, his enthusiasm impossible to contain. Bruno's shiny brown coat glistened under the alien lights, and his eyes were wide with excitement. His tail wagged like it had a motor in it, thumping against everything within reach. Dr. Zalor, the lead Xenian scientist, watched this display with a raised eyebrow. Dr. Zalor, a tall, elegant alien with soft lavender skin and large, curious eyes, wasn't used to such chaos. His lab was a sanctuary of order and precision. He glanced at Sam and said, "I assume this creature is safe for the experiment?" Sam grinned. "Safe? Bruno's the friendliest dog you'll ever meet. He just gets a little excited sometimes." Bruno, seemingly on cue, barked happily and wagged his tail even harder, accidentally knocking over a floating holographic chart that had been displaying today's experimental procedure. Dr. Zalor sighed, straightening the chart back into position with a flick of his long fingers. "Well then," the scientist said, "let's begin." The glowing collar was a marvel of technology, sleek, futuristic, and capable of translating an animal's thoughts into human or alien speech. The Xenians had been fascinated by how much animals communicated through body language and instinct, and this collar allowed them to translate those cues into words. It had already been successfully tested on smaller, less energetic animals, but Bruno was their first large dog. With a deep breath, Sam crouched down and gently fastened the collar around Bruno's thick neck. The moment it clicked into place, the collar lit up with a soft blue glow, signaling that it was ready. Bruno looked around, still oblivious to what was about to happen, his tail wagging so hard it nearly knocked Sam over. Dr. Zalor leaned forward, clearly intrigued. "Now let's see what he has to say," he said with a slight smile. For a few seconds there was silence. Then suddenly a deep, booming voice erupted from Bruno's collar, filling the entire lab. "Food! Where's the food? I'm hungry. Who has food?" Sam burst into laughter, clutching his sides. "Of course that's the first thing you'd say, Bruno." Bruno's tail wagged furiously as he looked up at Sam with his big, excited eyes. "I love you, Sam. You have food for me." His voice, translated by the collar, was filled with nothing but enthusiasm and love, as if his mind could barely contain itself. Dr. Zalor scribbled notes furiously on his tablet. "Interesting. His primary focus appears to be sustenance and affection." Bruno, unaware of the scientific analysis happening around him, suddenly leaped into the air, his paws thudding against the floor with a loud thump. "Walk! Walk! Let's go for a walk! Now! Right now!" Sam tugged on Bruno's leash. "Calm down, buddy. We're in the lab. No walks right now." Bruno was undeterred. "Walkies, please, walk. I need to run." He danced in place, panting, as if the mere thought of a walk was too exciting to handle. Unfortunately for the Xenians, Bruno's excitement wasn't something easily contained. The moment he caught sight of a small robotic assistant gliding across the floor, his eyes lit up. To Bruno, it looked just like a toy, or even better, a moving ball. Before Sam could stop him, Bruno lunged toward the robot, yanking Sam forward with surprising force. "Ball? Is that a ball? I want to play. Throw it now." Bruno chased the robot around the lab, barking orders at it as it whizzed around trying to escape. The Xenian scientists looked on in horror as their carefully calibrated equipment was nearly bowled over by Bruno's relentless enthusiasm. The robot beeped wildly, trying to evade Bruno's playful pounces. "Stop, Bruno," Sam called, barely able to hold onto the leash. "That's not a ball." But Bruno wasn't listening. His deep voice boomed again. "I love this game. Best ball ever." Dr. Zalor's calm demeanor cracked for the first time as he hurried to protect some of the lab's more fragile instruments. This is not what I anticipated," he muttered. "He's so strong." Sam, struggling to regain control, finally managed to lure Bruno away with the promise of a treat. "Hey Bruno, want a snack?" Bruno screeched to a halt, his head whipping towards Sam with laser focus. "Treat? Where? Give it to me now." After a bit of chaos, Sam managed to get Bruno to settle down, mainly by bribing him with a series of treats. Bruno plopped himself down on the floor, chewing happily while his collar translated his thoughts. "This is the best. More treats. I was a good boy." Sam rubbed Bruno's head affectionately, chuckling. "You're always a good boy, Bruno." Dr. Zalor approached cautiously, observing Bruno's behavior with renewed curiosity. It appears his behavior is governed by very simple desires: food, play, and affection. Bruno, hearing Dr. Zalor's voice, turned his head and wagged his tail. "Hello, who are you? Can you give me more treats?" His deep voice was so earnest, so full of joy, that Dr. Zalor couldn't help but smile slightly. "I am Dr. Zalor," the scientist replied, his voice thoughtful, "and I see you are quite affectionate." Bruno wagged his tail harder, nearly sweeping over a pile of lab equipment. "I like you. You smell funny, but I like you." "Belly rub," Sam snorted with laughter. "He'll be your best friend if you give him a belly rub." Dr. Zalor raised an eyebrow, but tentatively reached down, his long alien fingers gently scratching Bruno's belly. Bruno's eyes rolled back in pure ecstasy, his booming voice vibrating through the room. "Oh yes, best rub ever, keep doing that." Just when things seemed to be calming down, Bruno suddenly perked up again. His nose twitched and his ears stood up straight. "Walkies, I smell walkies." Before anyone could react, Bruno sprang to his feet, pulling Sam along with him. The leash strained as Bruno headed straight for the door, dragging Sam behind him like a kite caught in a storm. "Walk! Walk! Walk!" Dr. Zalor's eyes widened in alarm. I don't think it's wise to let him run around the lab." Bruno, however, wasn't listening. He pawed at the door, his voice full of excitement. "Walk! We go walk now!" Sam, laughing helplessly, managed to pull Bruno back, holding out yet another treat as a bribe. "Come on, buddy, not now, we'll go later." Bruno sat down abruptly, his tail thumping against the floor. "Okay, treat first, walk later." Dr. Zalor let out a sigh of relief. Remarkable. Such raw strength, yet easily pacified with the promise of food. By the end of the day, the lab was in disarray, but the experiment had been a success. Bruno, now happily chewing on yet another treat, lay sprawled on the floor, his belly full and his energy finally spent. His talking collar hummed softly as it translated his thoughts into a sleepy voice. "Good day, I was a good boy, walk later, but sleep now." Sam sat beside his loyal companion, ruffling Bruno's fur affectionately. "You did great, buddy. You showed them just how lovable a pit bull can be." Dr. Zalor stood over them, making his final notes on the experiment. "Fascinating. We've learned much today about Earth's animals, particularly the pit bull. His desires are simple, yet his loyalty is extraordinary. He is a creature of pure affection." Bruno let out a deep, contented sigh, his voice barely a whisper now. "I love you, Sam. Can we do this again tomorrow?" Sam grinned. "You bet, Bruno, but maybe we'll skip the part where you knock over the entire lab." Dr. Zalor gave a rare smile, his lavender eyes twinkling. Perhaps we should create an environment better suited to his enthusiasm next time. As the lights in the lab dimmed and the day came to a close, Bruno drifted off to sleep, snoring softly while Sam gently patted his side. The Xenians had learned an important lesson that day. Sometimes the simplest creatures, driven by love, play, and loyalty, can teach us the most profound truths about life. By the end of the experiment, Bruno had charmed every scientist in the lab with his boundless enthusiasm and undeniable affection. What had started as a chaotic day ended with a deeper understanding of Earth's pets, especially pit bulls. Their strength was matched only by their capacity for love and loyalty, a lesson that both humans and Xenians took to heart. As they prepared to leave the lab, Sam glanced back at Bruno, still snoring contentedly. "Looks like you made some new friends today, boy." Bruno, half asleep, mumbled through the collar one last time, "Best day ever."